Welcome to This Explainer. We are diving right into a high-stakes corporate race for Africa's most strategic digital market and breaking down a massive breakthrough that literally just happened. When you're looking at a continent with over 1 billion people, building that foundational digital infrastructure isn't just business, it's about defining global connectivity for the next century. We're unpacking a truly fascinating strategic playbook today, one that might completely redefine how global tech giants enter really complex regulated international markets from here on out. Let's get into it.
So here's the core mystery we're looking at. We've got SpaceX's Starlink, a pioneer with a massive, undeniable head start in low Earth orbit satellite internet, completely stalled out in this specific market. And then Amazon's network, Amazon Leo, seemingly swoops in out of nowhere and grabs this incredibly lucrative first-mover advantage. How exactly did Amazon manage to unlock a door that is still firmly shut for a giant like Starlink? Well, it all comes down to choosing a really smart, nuanced strategy over sheer brute force.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start with the broader satellite broadband race, then deconstruct Amazon's winning strategy, introduce the new product itself, look at the rural connectivity opportunity, and finally zoom out to Africa's digital future.
Okay, Section 1, the satellite broadband race. Let's set the stage for this massive competition.
To really appreciate the scale of Amazon's victory here, we first have to look at what Starlink was struggling with. SpaceX's Starlink is huge, right? They've successfully set up shop in over 160 countries, but trying to push independently into South Africa's telecom sector has been incredibly tough. South Africa has a very complex regulatory framework, specifically requiring 30% of a telecom licensee to be owned by historically disadvantaged groups. For a standalone foreign giant like Starlink, trying to organically build that exact equity structure from scratch is just a massive bureaucratic maze. Their usual playbook of pushing directly into a market hit a hard wall, and without that compliance, their service remains officially blocked.
Moving on to Section 2, Amazon's winning strategy. Let's see how Amazon built a completely different and wildly successful pathway.
The whole thing really boils down to this contrast in market entry strategy. Starlink tried the direct application route. They tried to apply directly for licenses as an independent foreign entity. Amazon, on the flip side, made a brilliant pivot to a local partnership model. Instead of fighting the friction or getting bogged down in years of legal back and forth, they bypassed it entirely. They realized something crucial. You don't actually need to own the local license if you can build a deep, symbiotic partnership with a company that already does.
And that brings us to the absolute linchpin of this whole operation. Amazon basically used a brilliant Trojan horse approach by partnering with Herotel. Now, Herotel isn't some tiny local startup. They are South Africa's largest fixed internet service provider. They have deep roots and a thorough understanding of the landscape. By shaking hands with Herotel in July, Amazon gained instant legitimate access to fully compliant operating licenses. It was an absolute masterstroke in regulatory compliance.
But it wasn't just about getting the paperwork signed. When Amazon made this deal, they weren't starting from zero. Thanks to Herotel, they instantly brought over 350,000 existing customers to the table. That is a totally ready-made ecosystem. Instead of burning years and hundreds of millions of dollars trying to acquire users from scratch, Amazon just plugged their cutting-edge space tech right into a thriving, profitable local business.
Plus, Herotel already runs networks across more than 550 towns. 550! Think about the physical footprint of that for a second. Why spend years fighting red tape when you can just plug your tech into hundreds of communities literally overnight? It gives Amazon this incredible, immediate, nationwide reach. They bypassed the roadblocks, grabbed a massive customer base, and secured a huge geographic footprint. It's the ultimate strategic shortcut.
All right, Section 3, Enter Every, the product. Let's dive into what consumers are actually going to get.
This groundbreaking partnership is powering a brand new, dedicated consumer service called Every. That's E-V-R-Y. Now, launching a constellation of satellites and getting them to talk seamlessly with a massive ground network takes some serious logistical planning. So Every is officially projected to launch to the public in 2027. But we really need to emphasize that this is a historic launch. It's Amazon Leo's very first commercial partnership in Africa, making this a massive milestone for the continent.
The division of labor here is what makes this so commercially viable. Amazon Leo is handling the space infrastructure, the low Earth orbit satellites, the global back-end, all of that. But, as we know, billion-dollar space tech is basically useless without reliable ground support. That's where Herotel shines.
They're managing the customer installations, running the field operations, and handling localized support in a market they already know inside and out. It's a perfect synergy. Amazon does space, Herotel does the ground game.
Section 4. The rural connectivity opportunity. Let's shift gears and look at who actually benefits from this.
Here's a surprising fact. While cities like Johannesburg and Cape Town have world-class hyper-fast fiber, if you drive just an hour outside the city limits, internet access practically falls off a cliff. Laying physical fiber optic cables across sparsely populated rural terrain is just incredibly expensive. It's uneconomical for traditional companies. But this satellite-terrestrial combo, it completely changes the math. Every is specifically designed to connect rural households, farms, and small businesses without needing all that expensive new physical infrastructure.
And the real magic is how Every will transform these sectors. We're not just talking about getting better Netflix streams. We're talking remote learning for students who can't attend top-tier schools physically. We're talking telemedicine, so rural patients don't have to travel for days to see a specialist. Imagine a small farming co-op finally accessing real-time global crop pricing and precision analytics right from the field. Or rural businesses finally getting plugged into digital banking. It's a foundational upgrade for the entire society.
Finally, Section 5. Africa's digital future. Let's zoom out and analyze what this means for the broader continent.
This deal is essentially a flashing neon sign to global tech investors. It proves absolutely that a partnership-based market entry works. You can find compliant, commercially viable pathways into complex African markets if you're willing to collaborate with local players instead of just trying to bulldoze your way in. It highlights South Africa as a vital gateway, proving you can achieve a massive first-mover advantage if you play the game smartly.
Building on that, we're seeing three major trends fundamentally reshaping the future here. First, the global race for Africa's connectivity is accelerating fast. It's a primary target now. Second, satellite broadband isn't just a niche alternative anymore, it's a vital, seamlessly integrated complement to fiber. And third, connecting rural areas is shifting from being just a government social cause into a highly lucrative commercial investment for the private sector.
So, as competition inevitably heats up, other global operators are going to be forced to pursue their own compliant pathways to catch up. Amazon won this crucial early battle, for sure, but the war for Africa's digital landscape, it's just getting started. Which leaves us with one fascinating question to ponder. With Amazon's first-mover advantage officially secured in the South, which tech giant and exactly which local partners will rise up to connect the rest of the continent? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. I hope this gave you a whole new perspective on the strategy behind the headlines.